All right. Our next speakers are Vasiliadis of University of Chicago and Ingrid Barcena of KU Leuven. And they will be talking about iRODS and Globus deployment at the VSC.
Thanks, everyone. Good morning. My name is Vasiliadis. Ingrid and I are going to tag team this. She has the more interesting stuff about, it's more specific to the VSC and local deployment here. But we thought we'd do a quick introduction to Globus. Perhaps a lot of people are not familiar with what Globus is. So I'd have just a few slides. So Globus is a nonprofit service that we have developed and are operating from the University of Chicago since 2010. So it will be, we launched it at supercomputing in 2010, so it's going on 12 years now. This is our mission. We are, sometimes people think we're a commercial company, but we're actually just a mission-driven organization within the university. We work in the VP of Research office, and we really try and build and provide a service to the community in a sustainable manner. There's a lot of words there. The fewer words are that what we really try and do in our mission is to get out of the way of real research being done and take all the mundane data management stuff out of the worries of the research. It was interesting to hear the talk by Martin earlier about all the instrument data. I have some comments about that. So in the 12 or so years, we've got a number of users around the world in many countries, and we continue to grow slowly and steadily. We get a lot of funding, so I want to thank our funding agencies for development. But increasingly, we have a model by which organizations can pay. It's voluntary to use more advanced features, and this subscription model is something that has helped us continue to grow and expand the service and build additional capabilities. So that's just a little bit about the group. Where Globus fits into the research lifecycle, we started out delivering the ability to do managed file transfer. So being able to request that data be moved from one system to another, irrespective of what type of system it is. We support a wide variety. Globus will take that over and ensure that that just happens reliably. It will work through transient errors and so on. And so, researchers can continue to do their work. Even more importantly, research is, of course, collaborative. So having the ability to share data with people that are not at your institution is increasingly critical. So rather than dealing with temporary accounts and staging into special storage and so on, we have the ability to allow the owner of the data to share, or basically to grant permissions to an external collaborator and have that person just come and download and access the data directly through Globus without requiring any specific local permissions on a storage system. And then we have also a number of services that allow you to build more comprehensive data management solutions. We have a lot of people that are using our search service to enable data discovery. So there was some discussion about data fairness. We hear a lot of that. We try and enable at least the F and the A so that you can find the data and access it. We have a number of portals and things that people have built around distributing data, both within their immediate collaborating group, but also to a broader community. All of this is available through browser and API user interfaces, as well as others. Very importantly, it's available with existing identities. I'll talk about that in a minute. So we have a software as a service, or just point and click kind of product, but all of this is underpinned by a series of services that have REST APIs, so you can talk to all of these programmatically. Conceptually, this is the architecture. So we host and operate a single multi-tenant service on Amazon Web Services. We have actually been cloud first, cloud only since day one. When we first started developing in 2008, Amazon was still quite new to the game, but we sort of jumped in and we've stayed there and it served us well. And so what gets deployed on local storage systems is some software called Globus Connect, Globus Connect server in particular. And a couple of things I want to point out on this slide is the big orange line, which is the data channel. So we never see data that flows between systems. That happens peer-to-peer. The service is only controlling through those dotted lines and ensuring, things happen when they should, and if they're not happening, to try and work through any transient problems and so on. This is what the architecture looks like for the software you install locally. It looks like a lot of boxes and a lot of complexity, but it's basically a data movement service and then another service that is there to communicate with the hosted Globus hosted service. And those three boxes sort of in the second layer are really important. It's something we introduced in a recent re-architecting of the software. It allows you to implement different security and compliance policies for different types of software, because a lot of our users are dealing both with open data as well as protected data in some form. So being able to specify, more fine-grained policy controls as far as who can see what, who can download or share data and so on, that is all done in that second layer. And we can do this, as I said, against a number of storage systems, including iRODS, and the iRODS team has been great in helping and developing the connector, and we help support them. Yeah, so that's sort of in a nutshell. A lot of people know us just for file transfer, so file transfer is all well and good, but I always like to point out reliability is key. We spent a lot of time building this reliability layer. Because when you are moving terabyte and larger data sets, which is very routine in this environment, there are errors, and being able to work through them is really critical, and make sure that you can rely on the data getting to the other side as it should be. And then we also, ensure that security is enforced. A big thing, sort of a guiding philosophy, if you will, for us is we don't want to keep client secrets, user secrets. So we sort of push the identity management and all of that to the institution. So you can use your existing identities. We act just as a broker of the credentials. The data, as I said, is always in the external storage systems. We never see that. We do integrity checking. We have a number of capabilities for high availability and so on. And there's, of course, encryption if you choose to use that. For those that are familiar with some of the NIST controls for protected data, we have compliance with a number of these different levels. On the bottom here is some more sort of US specific things, but really in the European context for us, it's about ensuring we're compliant with GDPR and all the extended privacy and other controls around that. So we've worked through all that. We have, as I said, a number of large users in the US, in Europe. I was going to do a quick demo, but rather I'm going to just show you a couple of screenshots to give you an idea for what it looks like if you have not ever looked at it. So in most cases, you can go to the globus.org site and log in with an existing identity. We probably over 1,500 now identity providers. Those show up if you release research and scholarship attributes, if you're familiar with the in-common or edu-gain model, or we can custom configure. All of this is using OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect. So it's all standard, sort of de facto standard web authentication authorization mechanisms. This is what the transfer looks like. You can have, as I said, any type of storage system on either side, point and click or drag and drop with a number of options to synchronize and handle errors and so on. And then this is the way you share. So you can set permissions on specific data to specific groups or individual users. And you can even share with applications. So this allows the creation of service accounts, as sort of registered applications within the system that can access data on users' behalf. So you can create automated flows and so on. So as I said, there's the single service in each case. There's a number of services, but they each have a single API, and it's accessible via different forms. The things we're focusing on right now, instruments are the biggest thing for us. There's just crazy growth in instruments, and proliferation of storage systems, and also ensuring compliance. So we're trying to encourage people to do things a little bit differently. We still have a lot of people that are shipping hard disks around, but when you have this rapid pace of innovation in the instrument world and also in research processes, we really need to have data management keep pace. So we are focusing on automation right now. We have the ability to have scheduled transfers. You can also script using a command line, but we have this wonderful new service called Globus Flows that allows you to essentially automate end-to-end data flows. This is an example that was in place for a couple of years now, since early COVID research, where we're taking data from an instrument, putting it through various analyses, and in the end, we're extracting metadata and publishing it in a web interface, which looks something like this. This is a different website, but it's the same idea. So we have a Globus search that provides a faceted search for the data. So it's sort of end-to-end automation, and this is really a big thing for us. So thank you. I'll pass it to Ingrid. Sorry, I went a couple minutes over there.
Hi, yeah. So I'm Ingrid Barcena. I'm talking about use cases of the Flemish Supercomputing Center, but I'm also KU Leuven, so because we are part of it, and also we are actually managing the data platform of the Flemish Supercomputing Center. So, okay, as much as we like iRODS, Terrell, we do. When we started using it and we started to put the users to use iRODS, we find that, not always everything is as smoothly and user-friendly as we would like. So we have a lot of Windows users, and there, of course, using of I commands was not straightforward. You need to install WSL. Maybe, you could use Python, but most of them don't even want to care about installing all these things. Reliability is also sometimes a problem. What about network hiccups or things that fails, the server goes down while a large data transfer is working? What if people wants to do things repetitive, automate, then they need to, do we have to teach all these Windows users to do a scripting? That's not actually what we want to do. And sharing data with externals, iRODS has the possibility. You have iTickets, we could give external accounts. But actually, that's also not the best way, especially if you think on a scale up and sharing with data with everybody in the world. So we thought, okay, what if we put iRODS and Globus together, and we just use the best of each of the softwares, and we take the best of both worlds. We let iRODS to do what iRODS is good at and the best that they can do: store data, describe all the metadata functions, discover data, search, and also the automation that comes with iRODS. And we let Globus to just take the role of the moving data and share data. So we say, okay, let's try and we'll experiment. We are going to present actually 3 use cases we are working on, but I'm tagged as transfer use case, ingest use case, and share use case. So we've been using Globus already for years, so since about 2018, with the basic subscription. And we've been using it mainly to provide to the users an easy way to transfer data between our HPC storage systems. We have, as you can see, every institution has 1 or 2 HPC systems, and those storage are independent, and we wanted to be able to move data easily. So the thing that we are now adding Globus to, we want to go a step further, and then using the iRODS connector, we want to add iRODS also in this environment. And we are also going to do also with OneDrive and Google Drive in the future. So the first use case I want to point out is that a test case that we have developed a proof of concept, and we will soon in the next weeks implement with the users, is the quality control of milk at dairy farms. So these people has different farms distributed in different parts of Flanders, and they collect data continuously about the quality of the milk. Then they want to send that to a central place to monitor this and probably detect, for instance, illnesses in the cows, and immediately near real time to go back to the farmer. So you have a cow that is ill, so be able to take this milk, for instance, out of the process. So, but this, and then later, so the idea is how can we do that? Because yeah, the farm environment is not very reliable. And there is a laptop that sometimes works, the connection also doesn't work. So we decided, what about using Globus? So in every farm, Globus Connect, Personal Connect is installed, and every farm has a different Globus ID identity, because it's important that the farms don't see the data of each other. All this data gets ingested using Globus, a synchronization process in iRODS, where then metadata is added, and then it gets also synchronized a little bit later, just to be sure that the data gets to the server, where the data is analyzed, a database is created, and then, if necessary, is informed the farm about any problem that could be. That department is the Livestock Technology Research Group of the KU Leuven, and we are going to implement that soon. How do you do that in Globus? Everything I'm going to show is the graphical interface. You can do the same and achieve the same result by using command line or even the Python interface of Globus. So at the iRODS side, we just created directories that in iRODS, we then share with the functionalities that Vas showed, these directories for every farm with the Globus ID of each farm. And that's all that we have to do. And we give write permissions to that Globus ID. In the farm side, we install also the Globus Connect Personal, and then we just create a synchronization process between the farm local directory and the iRODS directory where the data has to be uploaded. So we check the synchronization function. We transfer, the transfer is, as you see, is forced. I cannot change the encryption because when I share the data, I decided to force encryption. So the farmer or the person that configured the farm is not able to change that because we don't want the data gets, it's confidential data. And at the end, we sync and decide that we want to do that copy every 6 hours. So 3 times a day, the data will get ingested to iRODS. In the department side, it gets the same process, a synchronization process, half an hour later to ensure that the data has been already copied. It's very small files, so we are sure after half an hour. And we then do again 6 times a day, but a little bit faster. And then here we check because I'm the owner of the data in the department side. The users can then monitor all the transfers that happens after 1 week. You will have 15 transfers. There's a 0, but there's a screenshot that is not correct. And then you can really, they don't need to go to the farm and see if the transfers well done. So they can, from the department, be sure which farms has been having problems, and they can monitor each one of the transfers in case there was any problem. The next, I will go now 2 minutes and I'm done. The next, we have 2 more examples, is the sharing. And this is something we will start soon to start a proof of concept with the Flemish Bioimage Center in Flanders. The idea is we have a lot of microscopy users that they have a lot of image data. So we are going to ingest, at the moment, it happens quite manually with iRODS. They will use iCommands or Python. And now is manually the users will do the ingestion in iRODS and then add metadata. In the future, we are thinking also to be able to do directly from the instruments using the Globus Connect. And then once the data is in iRODS, we will be able to share using the share Globus functionalities and using the infrastructure, the VSC Tier 1 cloud, be able to then, people will, using the Globus portal functionalities for creating portals, that from there you can select data, the data that you have access to, that is in iRODS share with you. And then this data can be then processed using a VM that has installed some of the software that they use for visualization, QPath, Fiji, etc. What's the important thing here is, because we are going to use Globus in the portal, we don't need to manage any identity. We will use the possibility of the broker identity that Globus provides, that the people in the portal using their institutional identity or an ORCID identity, or we can decide then the permissions that they can connect, share take the data staging the data that they need, and then start working and visualize the data remotely. So that's something we will start, and we hope that some month we will have something working. So that was all. If you have questions.
All right. Yeah. So due to time, we're going to go to the next talk, but please find Vas and Ingrid on break or post questions in the Slack channel and they can respond there. And thanks.